It all started on a night when everything felt wrong, though I couldn't explain why. There are nights that fade into memory, uneventful and quiet, and then there are nights that leave a mark on your soul, nights that haunt you. This is the story of Emily, the girl next door, and the darkness she brought with her. If you're listening this, listen carefully. Stay away from the Bannerman house, not for my sake, but for yours. Because what I'm about to tell you, it doesn't stay confined to that place. It spreads. You think you're safe in your home, with walls to protect you and locks on your doors, but you're not. I wasn't. And after you hear what happened, you'll never look at your neighbors the same way again. The first time I heard the screams, I thought it was a fox. You know, the way they cry out in the night, eerie and shrill. But when I glanced out my window, the noise came from the old house next door, the Bannerman place. It had been abandoned for years until the Thompsons moved in last month with their daughter, Emily. That night, the screaming stopped as suddenly as it started. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, but when I looked closer, I saw Emily standing in the front yard under the flickering streetlight, staring directly at my window. Her head was tilted at an unnatural angle, and her lips were moving, though I couldn't hear what she was saying. The sight made my stomach churn. "Sarah, wake up," I whispered, nudging my sister. She groaned, burying her face in the pillow. "It's Emily. She's out there, doing something weird." "You're imagining things, Dylan," she muttered, groggy. "Just look," I urged, pulling her toward the window. By the time she glanced outside, Emily was gone. The next morning, I saw Emily again, this time in daylight. She was sitting on the porch, her knees drawn to her chest, her long hair hanging in her face. I hesitated but finally waved. She didn't respond, didn't even flinch. Later, I told Mom about it. "She's probably shy," Mom said dismissively. "Give her some time to settle in." But Emily wasn't shy. She was off. Over the next few days, strange things kept happening. Loud knocks at the door would echo through the house at odd hours, but no one was ever there. Objects would disappear and reappear in strange places. The dog refused to go near the Thompsons' yard, barking furiously whenever Emily was in sight. Then came the night I heard Emily's voice through my bedroom wall. "Dylan," she called, her voice a soft sing-song whisper. Alessa attacked again, her hand clasping the handle of the knife, but her words stuck together. "I think Rafe sent me. I'm okay." She couldn't possibly know my name. "Dylan," she repeated, her voice darker this time, like two voices layered over each other. I jumped out of bed and ran to Sarah's room. "She's in the walls," I blurted out. Sarah stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "Who? Emily?" "Yes," I heard her. She was calling my name. Sarah sighed, pulling the covers over her head. "You're paranoid. Go to sleep." Alyssa closed her eyes, but continued to sleep. But I couldn't. That night, I heard scratching. Faint at first, then louder, as if nails were clawing at the drywall. Then, there was a man scratching at the garage door. The next morning, Emily showed up at our door. She smiled at me, wide and unnerving. "Can Dylan come out to play?" she asked, her voice honey-sweet but cold. My mom, oblivious to the tension, nudged me forward. "Go on, honey. It's nice to see you making friends." I let go of her, gliding forward and ushering her to enter the nearby cottage. "Hurry, but don't rush. The enemy in the village pursues you and has a grudge against the mercenary." I didn't want to go, but I couldn't explain why without sounding crazy. Emily led me to the woods behind our houses. "I like the quiet here," she said, her voice flat. Her eyes too wide seemed to bore into mine. A ripple of frowns swept the queen's features. "What do you want?" I finally asked, my voice trembling. She grinned. "To show you something." Emily pulled out an old tattered doll from her pocket. Its eyes were missing, and its face was smeared with what looked like dried blood. "She told me all about you," Emily said, cradling the doll like a baby. "Oh, the one in the walls," she whispered, leaning so close I could feel her breath. "She likes you." "Oh," she said. I stumbled back, my pulse racing. "You're insane." Emily's grin widened, and she tilted her head again, that same unnatural angle. "She's coming for you." It'd be... I ran, not daring to look back. That night, everything escalated. The scratching in the walls turned into pounding. Sarah screamed when her closet door flew open on its own. Mom found the family photo albums ripped apart in the living room, the pictures of me scratched out. And then we heard it, a guttural, inhuman growl from the attic. We all froze. Mom whispered, "Stay here," but I grabbed her arm. "Don't go up there." But it was too late. The growling stopped, replaced by silence so heavy it pressed down on my chest. Amazingly, my chest altered in response. Suddenly, I felt a thrill of power. Mom climbed the attic stairs, flashlight in hand. "Hello?" she called. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her. We heard her screaming, her voice mingling with another. A deep, unearthly wail. Sarah and I tried to pry the door open, but it wouldn't budge. Then, just as suddenly as it had locked, it swung open. As soon as the door swung back into its threshold, the hallway from the cellar to the room that powered the guns became brilliant. The Liaison Castle surfaced to our left. The lamps scattered everywhere. Mom was gone. In the middle of the attic was Emily, holding the doll. Her face was blank, but her eyes glowed faintly. "She's here now," Emily said, her voice layered with that same dual tone. "What did you do?" Sarah screamed. Emily tilted her head again, her lips curling into a chilling smile. "She just wanted a new home." She returned the smile, pushing more of her worry from her eyebrows. Suddenly, the attic lights flickered, and the shadows seemed to stretch and writhe. A figure emerged, tall, gaunt, with hollow eyes that dripped darkness. Sarah grabbed my hand, and we bolted. Behind us, we heard Emily laughing, a sound that grew louder and more distorted with each step. We didn't stop until we were out of the house, but as we turned back, we saw them, Emily and the shadowy figure, standing in the window, watching us. Eerie's black component. We never saw Mom again. The Thompsons moved out the next day, leaving the house abandoned once more. But at night, we still hear the scratching. And sometimes, I swear I see Emily standing under the streetlight, smiling up at my window.